heard that in a while. Been a while.
That intro still gets me. It's kind of haunting.
It is. It is. It's very haunting. It kind of gives me the creeps a little bit, but there's nothing wrong with the creeps. Sometimes people dig that.
Yes.
But we're back. It's been a while. We're back and got a lot of things that have happened since we were last on. A lot of entertainment news and movies and unfortunately celebrity deaths and everything like that. But what have you been up to?
Work, and work. But the good side, just bought a huge collection of toys today. A lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a lot of He-Man, a lot of classic late '80s and '90s stuff. I was thrilled to get it. So, but mostly just work. So,
Yeah, a lot of what are you talking about? Joes or Transformers or
oh man, we have had an insane amount of Transformers come in over the last few months. So many that we really can't keep up with it. They're just in boxes sitting in the back room right now. And
hmm
we get 4 or 5 of them that are put out a day, maybe a few more than that. But we've picked up a huge inventory of Transformers. And the woman that came in today, she's cleaning out her attic and had all of her kids' childhood toys. And she knew her stuff. She came in, she had everything all packaged out in glad bags, everything all organized. It was actually a beauty to look at. Most of them people bring loose toys in, they're just throwing it in a bucket. She'd
yeah,
actually take the time out to put everything out in little individual baggies. It is nice. Uh,
nice.
we, we added a sports corner downstairs. That's been keeping me busy. We been making some changes here lately.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? The sports thing, I think is as far as like the collection part of it goes, I think it's going to make a big comeback for the fact that just the NFL, by itself, with Brady retiring and Roethlisberger retiring and Breeze retiring, you have all of these new guys coming in. I mean, for you just look across the league, with Buffalo with Josh Allen, Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. I mean, it's just all the way across the board, and so I think you're going to have a new generation of collectors that is going to come about because of that new class of athletes coming in. And the same thing in the NBA too. The NBA is at the point now where a lot of the guys have been around for a while or on their way out. LeBron's like in his 19th or 20th season. Same thing with Carmelo
Wow,
Anthony. And yeah, 2003 is when they came in the league. Feels like yesterday, doesn't it?
it does. I mean, especially yeah. It just I feel like a lot of the players just started playing yesterday, and I look up and they're in the retirement years almost. So just especially with football. I mean, I think Roethlisberger and Brady have been part of the league for so long that it's so hard to imagine an NFL season without either one of those two playing.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of at a loss. I haven't kept up with baseball for a number of years, so I don't know anybody's playing. I mean, my favorite team for the baseball is the Yankees, and I couldn't tell you anybody on the starting roster.
Yeah.
Nobody. In Pittsburgh, at least that was always that constant. You never knew who the running back was going to be, or you never knew who the receiver was going to be, but you always knew Roethlisberger was going to be there. And now
Mhm.
going to next year, I'm going to be at a total loss. I'm going to have to actually start watching the games again in order to keep up with stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, it is just like you said. You you have 10 plus years of guys that you become familiar with, whether they're on your team or on another team. So honestly, I think right now, because where Brady left and Breeze left and Roethlisberger left, I think probably the most tenured quarterback in the league right now would be what, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I think that's about it.
Wow. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, both of them
Yeah,
have been around for a while, but I don't see Aaron Rodgers even lasting that much longer. Maybe another year or two. I think he'll be out. I think they'll
yeah,
force him out just on principle. So, and maybe for good reason. Who knows? So,
yeah, yeah. I, I don't know if he'll stay in Green Bay or not. I mean, I the 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 fan in me wants to see him come to San Francisco, but
mhm.
we'll see. He might still be angry about the fact that he got skipped over, but hey, if he comes, that'll be awesome. I mean, we'll see. But speaking of football, pull this up here. Of course, this Sunday is the Super Bowl, and I'm still a little bit heartbroken because my 49ers, uh, in the fashion they lost to the Rams. I'm a little heartbroken by that. It happens. It happens. I mean, they had their chance, and of course, I can't blame it solely on Jimmy Garoppolo, but it doesn't help when you throw an interception at the end of the game. But anyway, I I like the Bengals in this one. I want to pull for the kid Joe Burrow. I like what Cincinnati is bringing. I like the guys they got on their roster. They're all young and they're all hungry. But at the same time, though, I would like to see Matthew Stafford win one, just for the fact that he was in Detroit for so long and they didn't do anything for him. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals. Who you got?
I haven't followed that much football this year at all. I mean, even my fantasy league, I think I picked up my starting lineup the first week and just let it ride the whole year.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go with the Bengals though. I mean, I'm gonna stay with my AFC roots.
yeah,
Of course, I would like to see Pittsburgh get in, but after watching the Pittsburgh Lions game this year, I knew they weren't actually going to go anywhere. I mean, that was just like a who wants to lose this game the most. Nobody wanted to win it. They just wanted to see who wants to lose it. Really, that's what it felt like. So I'm going to go with the Bengals just because it's been a long time since they've even been to the show.
yeah.
And let me think here. Actually, I got to think the Rams. The Rams are actually why I'm a Steelers fan. Believe it or not. When did they play Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl? What, 1978, 79?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Years ago, like that. I was like 6, 8. I don't know. I was young. My cousin comes up to me and goes, "We're going to bet on the Super Bowl game. I'm going to take the Rams. You're going to take the Steelers team for $1." I'm like, "Okay, sure." I don't know what's going on. I never watched football before. And of course, the Steelers win. I win $1. I'm rich. Then I become a lifelong fan after that.
yeah.
But in a weird way, I have to continue betting against the Rams here. It's a legacy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm kind of the same way. I mean, you kind of like for me, for example, when I was a kid, you had those rivals. Where I'm a 49ers fan, you have the rivals with the Cowboys. They go all the way back to the 80s. So
Mhm.
John David Petrie says, "What's up, Melvin? Hey, what's going on, man?" But yeah, so that kind of started that for me, like with the hatred for the Cowboys back then. So, and I still carry that today with me, the hatred for the Cowboys and the Packers to a degree, because in the mid '90s, the Packers kind of took over for Dallas when it came to beating San Francisco in the playoffs.
Mhm.
So there's still that hatred there. But I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. I'm awful at predicting scores, but I'm going to predict the Bengals to win uh, this Super Bowl. So I will say this though. Um, what I know that you're not the biggest hip hop guy, but
Mhm.
what do you think about the Super Bowl halftime show with Dre and Snoop, Mary J, and Kendrick Lamar?
I'm actually all for it. I think it's a great idea. I think Super Bowl show has never been a cutting edge show. They've always relied, at least in my memory, they've always relied on talent that's, I'm not going to say past their prime,
Hmm.
but big name talent that appeals to an older generation.
Yeah,
And I hate to say it, that hip hop crowd actually appeals to an older generation. It's not like a young hip hop crowd. It's established artists that have been around for 30 years plus,
hmm
or a lot of them have. So I'm all for it. I like the idea of it.
well, that's the thing too. It goes back to what you just said about um, it appealing to an older crowd. And the reality of it is think about this. Dr. Dre's The Chronic came out in 1992. Now, to you and I and many people, our age, that feels like yesterday, but in reality, that is a long time ago. I mean, what, 30 years ago, right? If my math is correct, 30 years
40
ago.
years ago.
No, 30. It's
30,
30. 30,
92,
1992. Yeah, 30.
92.
We're gonna have to have somebody bring you a big box of calculators.
I might have to count on my fingers again here. 92, 2002, 2012, 2022.
No,
Right?
that would have made me like 3 in 1992. 1992, I was I think I was 12.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I was 12. So
I'll
yeah,
probably leave my taxes to someone else.
look, I hope so. I hope so. Otherwise, there might be a sorry guys, we're gonna be closed for a while sign on your store. So
In any case,
if your taxes don't look right, then you just admit it that you're not the best at that. So if
it's a long time ago.
if you do it wrong, make sure you do it right. Yeah, if you do it wrong, make sure you. I want to come there and you got gold plated door handles and
Oh yeah,
all
no
that
shit.
stuff.
Call Sadama for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
but no,
those artists have been out. They've been out for a long time.
yeah,
Long time.
and it's the thing too. Like you know, going back to what you were saying about the old artists, is that there was a period of time where they would constantly bring artists like Aerosmith and
Hmm.
uh, artists like that appealed to a particular generation. And
Hmm.
the thing now is 1992 is this generation right now. So I'm interested to see how the show's going to go, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. I think probably in recent memory the the one artist, I think there were two artists that I was really interested in seeing as far as the halftime performance goes. One of them is Prince. You can never go wrong with Prince. And then two, as odd as this may sound, was Lady Gaga, for the fact that she's a performer, whether you like her music or not. I mean, she's an artist that is a generation, and she whether you like her music or not, I think she's phenomenal. So I was really excited about seeing that one, but I don't know. We'll see. But you got the Bengals though, right?
Yeah. I gotta say, I've never been excited about the halftime show. I mean, no matter what artists they really call out for it, it's never been one of those things like, oh God, that's who's going to be on the halftime show. Because I'm there to watch the commercials first and the game second usually. And if I happen to be on a football poll, I'm really pulling for the football poll. The halftime show is just it's an interlude for me to get and go grab another snack plate or something. So I know that sounds awful to say because I know they put a lot of money and time and effort into it, but it's never been a deciding factor for me.
Yeah. I will say this about the commercials is that I saw something the other day that how they do the teaser commercials leading up to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'd seen something the other day that had Dr. Evil on it. I think it was for like GM or something like that. So I'm excited to see that because Austin Powers is one of my favorite movies. Dr. Evil was one of my favorite characters of all time. So I'm excited to see that, see what that's going to be. So
Are you sure it's Doctor Evil and not Jeff Bezos?
no, it was Dr. Evil.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Dr. Evil. Matter of fact, they had the whole crew. They had Frau Farbissina, and they had number two. Well, of course, mini me, Vern Troyer.
You-
He's passed away, but
They can
um,
digitally add him to it.
it's possible. Hold that thought on digital, because matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do this here. I want to get into that digital part here. Let me bring this. I'm glad that you said that. So let me pull
Back
this.
here. Give a quick shout out to Jamie Thayer and Jody Halstead for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm not sure who the third floor comics is because that's not me, but someone that's saying hello. So
Oh, that's me.
okay,
Yeah, because I'm streaming this to the third floor comics page
okay,
as well. So whenever I type, that was just the first thing that popped up. So,
all right,
or
cool.
you have some phantom person that's logged into your third floor comic
That
books
is
account.
entirely possible.
It's possible. They're making backdoor trades and that you don't know about. You're gonna have the somebody show up at your door one day demanding where their stuff is, and you have no idea what they're talking about.
Shit. John David brings up that the weekend was good. I did watch that one. I really did enjoy the weekend, and really, I didn't really listen to the weekend too much before that. But after the Super Bowl show, and after his performance on Saturday Night Live, I started listening to him more and more. He's on my standard rotation now.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of cool.
yeah. The weekend, again is another artist where um when you if you actually took the time to listen to him and watch him perform, he's a great performer. And it's just one of those deals where when you hit a certain age, like I was telling a friend of mine a little bit earlier, and I was telling her that, with music, the artists are always going to be young. They're always going to be either in their teens or their early 20s. So once you start getting in your 30s and in your 40s, um, you kind of lose the 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 appeal of it because you're no longer 19, 20 years old,
Yeah.
and you really can't relate to it no more. So when these new artists come out, you're looking at them like they're kind of like kids, but the weekend is a phenomenal performer. He's got a great voice, and he's a little weird, but weird
Yeah.
sells. Weird
Weird.
sells. Yeah, Madonna was weird.
Prince was weird.
Prince, yeah, Prince was weird.
Real weird.
Michael Jackson weird on another level. Um,
Cobain was
I don't-
weird.
who was weird?
Kurt Cobain
Oh,
was weird.
Kurt- yeah, he was very, very weird. He always sounded like he needed a Hall's cough drop or something. Um, I'm sure that he did no vocal training. He just screamed, but it worked. They sold records and it worked. But the digital thing that I was getting at was,
Mhm.
um, and before I forget here, I want to give a big shout out to Elizabeth. Elizabeth isn't on with us right now, but maybe sometime in the future we can get her back. Uh, I do miss having Elizabeth here with us, hanging out with us and talking. So maybe we can get her back here in the near future.
In
Can't
the
even talk.
fold. That'd be good.
Yeah. But speaking of digital, I wanted to, and this is why I'm bringing that up. So the Book of Boba Fett is out. I think there was only 7 episodes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So the digital part of it, and if if we spoil anything for you, my bad. You should have watched it by now, honestly. Because Spider-Man's coming up too. So if you when we get to Spider-Man, if you hadn't seen Spider-Man, my bad. I'm sorry. Stuff happens. You should have seen it by now. Especially with technology where you can watch it like a pirate like myself. So let me see. Give me just one moment here. Brandon, my buddy Brandon Brown, who's a Steelers fan, by the way. Says
Oh
Lady
well.
Gaga is a evil, satanic. Come on, Melvin. Who else you want to support and throw praise to? George Soros.
Man, that's just digging deep there. He's digging deep at you.
Brandon. I've known Brandon a long, long time. He's my favorite person to. He's one of my favorite people to talk to. Period. But specifically about sports because he always makes me laugh and he always gives it to me straight how he feels and puts a little bit of sarcasm in there. But he does know his sports and he does know what he's talking about when it comes to sports. So I always appreciate that. And I appreciate his opinion. And we always have fun going back and forth with each other with the banter. Um, but so if you haven't watched the Book of Boba Fett, sorry, I'm going to spoil it for you. So anyway, speaking of the digital part of it, before we get into actually the whole series itself, speaking of the digital part of it, did the digital Mark Hamill not look phenomenal? I thought it did.
It threw me away off because as soon as I saw the digital Mark Hamill, I was like, who do they get to play Mark Hamill? Who do you get to play Luke on this? This is uncanny. And of
Yeah,
course, I get on Google and I search it out. It's like they just Mark Hamill played Luke. I was like, what the hell? So of course, figured out then soon after that they did digitally de-aged him,
yeah,
and it there's something that's a little off on it. Weirdly enough, it's just something that's not quite right, but at the same time, it's fantastic too. So
yeah, yeah. They actually showed pictures. I actually seen where they showed pictures side by side of the de-aging of him when he was in which recent Star Wars movie they have his younger self in. Um,
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was, but that one they showed side by side um, doesn't look so good in comparison to what they've done
Mhm.
in the Book of Boba Fett. So I wanted to get from the beginning of that with you, the Book of Boba Fett. The In the beginning, what did you think of it? Just going in the first couple episodes.
First couple episodes, I wasn't super impressed at all with it. It was a lot of fan service, which is fine. Fan service is great in these shows. I mean, that's why they're making them. Really, the fans support the networks, fans support the streaming, the fans support the characters. So yeah, throw out some fan support on these types of shows. But just the character just didn't seem to be really what we wanted him to be. I mean, it looks like he got really in tune with his inner self and his inner feelings, and he lost that really mysterious dark edge. I mean, he's not going to disintegrate anybody now. He's too good to disintegrate anybody. He's too fair. He's too just. He's too self righteous now. When I think of Boba Fett for the short time he is actually in the movies, I'm thinking a heartless, ruthless bounty hunter. And
Yeah,
what I've got here is what I'm watching is this guy that's, I guess he's been in the Sarlacc pit for so long that he's found his inner self, or he's bonded with the Sand People. And the Sand People are this, Lucas intended for the Sand People to be these animalistic humanoids, really, with no feelings. They're just basically, wild wolves in humanoid form. And when he bonds with them and creates an image with them, now all of a sudden they're not that. They're a little deeper, but that takes away from it somewhat. I mean, there's another theory on that too, but I'll touch on that later. But I didn't like it at all. And then the actor they've got for him, he looks the role, but he also looks like Boba Fett, extra large. The
right. I knew
armor
you were going to say that. I knew you
didn't
were going
fit
to
him
say
right. I mean, it's like seeing me wear the armor. It's like
that. He's dad bod Boba Fett.
exactly. And the fight scenes
Yeah,
are the original fight scenes. I didn't care for those. They're not fast. They're very slow. They're tamed down for a slower Boba Fett. I
yeah,
mean, the series didn't pick up anything. It didn't really pick up any kind of momentum until it brought in the Mandalorian.
yeah.
So
Well, here's my thing with it, and the first couple episodes, with the Sand People. My thought on that is I liked it, but if I looked at it from a realistic kind of um, perspective here, and that is that who in the world gets basically kidnapped, beaten, and tortured to a degree, made a slave, and then you little by little. I don't know. I don't want to use the phrase "gain their trust" because they enslaved you.
mm,
Um, but kind of get on their good side, and they teach you their ways, and et cetera, et cetera. But you're still a slave. And to me, the Boba Fett, the way that he was portrayed in the Star Wars movies, Return of the Jedi and everything, the Boba Fett that I wanted to see was after he, I guess gained their trust. I thought he would have killed them all.
yeah,
And that kind of got me in the end where I'm thinking, who in the hell gets kidnapped, beaten, made a slave, and then in the end you're hugging them and giving them kisses and everything, and um, you befriend them and act like nothing ever happened.
there's a
That
term for that. There's a mental like illness that's term for that. That are people that are actually kidnapped that befriend their kidnappers. I don't remember what it is, but it's a psychological thing. But I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
that's what this was. This was just yeah.
yeah,
I agree with you. I would have much rather seen Boba Fett pull an Anakin Skywalker and wipe out the whole tribe.
yeah. And what got me too was the same thing as you is his softness. you know, because the whole time I kept thinking I'm terrible with names, and this may actually occur if there's another season. I don't know if there's going to be another season or not, but the whole time I kept thinking that the lady that's with him, the one, you know, he saved
Yeah,
her, you know,
can't remember her name,
I
but
kept
yeah.
thinking they're building her up because everything he did, she questioned it. And she
Mhm.
questioned it in a manner like you would do your child. Like if you looked at your son Jake and Jake went to do something, you know, and say, Jake, are you sure you want to do that?
Mhm.
Everything he did, that's the way she approached him. And I kept
She didn't
thinking,
second guess about everything he did.
yeah. And I kept thinking, she's going to turn on him and take over uh everything herself. That's
Mhm.
what I kept thinking. It didn't happen. But that's the way that I thought the entire time that she was gonna flip the script there and take everything over. But the story itself, uh, if it wasn't for the Mandalorian being entered into the story there, it was gonna I thought it was gonna fall off quickly. He
Mhm.
saved it, as a matter of fact, he saved it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, the Mandalorian character, he's like the Boba Fett that we wanted to see, and the
Yeah.
fact that they created him Stockholm syndrome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Heidi. Um, I just I think the Mandalorian was a character that everyone wanted for this show.
Mhm.
They wanted Boba Fett to be more like that character, and the fact that they created the Mandalorian as a separate character gave them the freedom to create a better character than what Boba Fett ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Boba Fett character as a whole is kind of weak. I mean, basically, what Star Wars sold was a cool looking costume. I mean, goes Empire, you don't see him, but maybe for a brief moment, when he's lined up with the other bounty hunters, and Jedi, he dies off pretty quick after his hokey rocket accident.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything really substantial about the character.
Yeah.
I don't
I
understand the fandom behind him, really.
I the dad butt thing got me, and also to the talking. I'd actually read something a week or so ago, that the actor that plays Boba Fett, even he said that he feels like the character talks too much, like because in the Star Wars movies he said very little, and
Yeah.
that kind of helped the persona of this guy's mysterious. He's a badass. We don't know much about him. He just walks around and he looks like he can just kick butt whenever he goes. And then Boba Fett in the series just talks and talks. He sounds confused. He sounds like, and I understand that's the plot of the character. He's kind of torn. He's torn between being that bounty hunter, ruthless villain type, and then catching feelings and but how do you become that confused about who you want to be, which really kind of got me. So um and then what's sad is that the best characters in the series weren't even Boba Fett. It
Correct.
was Mandalorian. It was the dude in the end with the big eyes, kind of like a frog.
The
uh
Blue Bounty Hunter.
yeah, had the
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
the
He was a
pistol.
great character.
Yeah, he was. His voice was great. The way that he carried himself was great. uh he was the character that Boba Fett should have been.
Hmm.
And he was great. And the lady that's with him, I forget her name, that sounds bad, but the lady was with him, she's great. And Boba Fett was the least appealing character in the show.
Thank you,
So
Dave. Cade Bane. Yes, that's
mm,
that character is.
Cade Bane, yes, yeah, Cade Bane, yeah. So um I don't know if there's going to be a season 2, but I am excited for the Mandalorian season 3. I believe that's going to come out around Christmas, I believe. So I don't know.
Quick question for you, Melvin.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode where Luke is training Grogu, at the end of him, he gives him a choice whether he takes a saber or the Mandalorian armor.
Mm.
Which one did you think he was going to take?
I thought it would have been the saber.
I I thought he was going to take the saber too. It really shocked me that he took the Mando armor.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take the saber, and but it was kind of cool the way, because they led you to believe that he was going to take the saber,
Hmm.
because the whole time Luke is basically persuading him, saying, this is what you are. This is where you need to be. This is our family, and basically, you're going to do it, and you're going to like it.
But
And
see,
then,
you can't Jedi mind trick Jedi.
yeah,
You can't do
yeah,
it. You hit her mind.
but I was shocked though. I was shocked in the end when he showed up with the little armor and instead of the saber. So
Mhm.
um, the one thing though that I did like with the Mandalorian in it is how even in episode 7 he still struggled to be able to use the dark saber.
Yeah, he's.
I
It's
like
not
that.
his weapon. It's
Yeah,
not his. Might be an interesting turn if Grogu ends up with the dark saber somehow.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
So
Yeah, him.
I was kind of excited about that. I thought that was cool. The rank car at the end was cool.
Yeah, special
That was
effects on Rancor are fantastic. What
yeah.
did you think about? What did you think about the motorcycle game with the brightly colored moto scooters?
I thought it was garbage. I thought I thought it was too much. If they took the colors away and just left it as speeder bikes, it would have
Mhm.
been okay. But when you give it a paint job like they're cruising the parking lot in Applebee's over in Canal City in the 90s, it was just too much. It was like they were riding around in 1992 or 93 um Chevy S10s,
Yeah,
with the Daytons on them.
yeah. I mean,
It was
everything
just
else. Go on. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say Star Wars. I mean, I in my mind, I still see just desert, and I see outside of the ships, I don't see technology.
Hmm.
So when you add like those speeder bikes that look like 2023 new vehicles, it was just kind of it just threw me off. I didn't like that.
Everything else on that planet has always been so drab,
Mhm.
so worn out, so sand torn, so sand blasted. There's never been anything on that planet that's ever shined. And to have
Yeah,
those spikes show up, you're thinking, what garage do they keep them in, or do they have to paint them every day, or what? But it was also kind of to me, it's kind of a throwback to George Lucas too. George Lucas, I say, in a couple of things I've read about him, he grew up hot rodding a lot. He grew up, wanting the fast cars and racing the fast cars and racing hot rods and sports cars, stuff like that. So I saw the bikes as kind of like a shout, like a quiet shout out or Easter egg shout out to Lucas and his original plan, some of his original plans with Star Wars. And I'm not
yeah.
sure if that's what the intent was or not, but I kind of read that into it somewhat as well.
It was just it just wasn't for me. It wasn't. It just didn't go with it. It just it felt off. So
Another thing that felt off to me was actually the Mandalorian's new ship being the repurposed Naboo starfighter.
yeah,
You think every bounty hunter you've seen on that show or through the Star Wars universe, they all fly a cargo type ship,
yeah,
something they can haul a big creature in if they have to, or something they can live in or camp out of, or something that's a lot more useful than a basically a one seater ship. I mean, how's he supposed to pull in a if he's going to continue being a bounty hunter? How's he going to use that ship to further his job? I mean, he can't put him in the back there with Grogu. He can't
right,
haul him underneath it. He's not going to bring him in alive now. He's going to bring in parts and pieces, I guess, or he's going
right.
to give up the bounty hunter trade altogether.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, I guess they did it to for the purpose of Grogu to have his own little spot. I guess to be cute or something like that. But yeah, it didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
Not at all. It's like you're a delivery person and you're riding around in a Ford Fiesta.
exactly.
That doesn't make sense at all.
Let's
Not
hope that the new Obi-Wan series is a better series.
mhm.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I let me find this here. I just want to give this celebrity one of these can't even talk today. One of these celebrity deaths. I want to put this on here. So real quick here, we'll go over one, and then if you want to, we can roll over to Spider-Man, and I'll give another spoiler alert before we do it. But the one death here I wanted to talk about here was Howard Hesseman. I I only know him from WKRP in Cincinnati, and of course, head of the class, which I liked as a kid, head of the class. But he passed away here in 2022, not just shortly, I believe, maybe a few days ago or a week ago. But WKRP in Cincinnati, that was one of my shows when I was a kid. I used to watch all the time, and it has one of those classic theme songs to where you know the words and you hear it, and you always have that the end of it, when they say I'm in WKRP in Cincinnati, and it's always stuck in your head whenever think about him and Les Nessman and Lonnie Anderson and the rest of the cast there. And of course, Head of the Class had a lot of young actors in it. It had Robin Givens in it, and so but yeah, he passed away shortly, a few days ago or a week ago, something like that. So, were you a WKRP in Cincinnati guy?
I remember watching the reruns of it, and I vaguely remember watching the like original airings of it.
Hmm.
So when it was on, I didn't really grasp the humor of it at all. It was
Yeah,
really over my head for being, 8 or 9.
yeah.
In the reruns, I couldn't really get into those too much. So not, I'm familiar with the show, and I watched a little bit growing up, but I wasn't really a huge fan of it.
Hmm. Yeah, it was my show. I liked it a lot. So, Spider Man. Oh, hold on one second here.
That's from me.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
Spider
Yeah,
Man.
Spider Man. Look at you using the tools. Look at
You
you.
like that? Hey,
I
I
like
learned a
that.
trick while I was off. I've learned a trick or two while I was off. So broke
Look
my
at you
computer while I
using
was off too. That's a different story. Anyway,
so,
Spider Man.
Spider Man. Spider Man. So here we go. Let me see here. Let me pull this up. So, spoiler alert coming up here. Spoiler. So, if you haven't seen Spider Man, my bad. You might want to turn away. You might want to, not listen or whatever. But
If you haven't seen Spider Man, stop what you're doing right now. I don't care what you're doing. Stop what you're doing right now. If it's still in the theater, go watch it now, or go pull it off of an illegal streaming service. Do whatever you have to do. Go watch it right now. Whatever you're doing, just stop
yeah,
and go do it.
be a pirate like myself. I'm a pirate. I'm going to admit it. I well, for the most part, I mean, really wouldn't be any spoilers. Honestly, it's hard to. There might be one spoiler that people might not know about, but the big spoilers, I think everybody should know at this point. I mean, goodness, it's been since December, so it's February now. But what did you think of it?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, my favorite Spider Man film. It's actually a tie between Spider Man 2 with Doc Ock and the Into the Spider Verse animated film.
Hmm.
So, as far as a live action show, though, this may have knocked Spider Man 2 off its throne for me. I mean, I absolutely, without a doubt, loved this film. I mean, it got you in the feels. It got me misty in the end of it. It got me in the. I mean, the action was great. The story, I thought, there's some loopholes in the story, nothing huge, but great story. It was great seeing Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man again. It was great seeing Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man with a different twist. I think it was a fantastic film.
Yeah. No, when you say Spider-Man 2, you're talking about Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 or
Yes.
okay, okay.
With the Doc Ock appearance.
Doc Ock,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
That's one of the movie. Actually, when I saw the previews for this one and I heard Doc Ock say Peter Parker, I mean, it just sent chills in my body immediately. I mean, it still
Yeah.
sends chills in my body. It's just that line. I think is just those two characters interact so well in Spider-Man 2. That's what makes it one of my favorite films. Then
Mhm.
this on top of it was great. And actually
I
seeing William Dafoe reprise his role as a Goblin, you know, I think the Goblin in this version of Spider-Man was 10 times the villain that the Goblin was even in the first Spider-Man. I think it's just
yeah.
a fantastic film.
Um I liked it. There were I do my best not to be real critical of films because everybody's going to have their idea of what it should be or what they or more so what they want it to look like. So I try to put past that and actually just enjoy what I'm watching. But the only the only issue that I had with it was I didn't like the way that the other two brought into the film. I felt that they should have like showed up in fight scenes, to let's just say, one of them should have showed up while Peter was, excuse me, while the current Peter was
Mhm.
fighting Doc Ock. That would have been cool. And then if Garfield would have showed up when he was battling out or whatever with Electro with Jamie Foxx.
Mhm.
But the way that they were brought in, I thought that was kind of just like lazy.
Mhm.
I thought it was, let's just get him in here and not put too much effort into it, just to please the people and shock them and whatnot. I thought that could have been better. I um I thought I felt that there should have been maybe a little bit of friction between the three of them as far as how they were going to approach the situation. Um, but I mean, overall, I liked it. It was a good movie, and I think it was the best Spider-Man out of the three from um, Tom Holland. I thought it was the best
Mhm.
one by far. Doctor Strange was great in it as well, and of course, it sets up Doctor Strange too.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was good. I really did. I just felt that they should have brought the other two Spider-Mans in just a little bit differently. I didn't like the way that they brought Garfield in with just them open up the portal and he walks in and was like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" But
This
it
is
is,
also normal. This is normal, right?
yeah, it is what it is, yeah. Uh,
I'm
but
super excited to see the new animated Spider-Man movie that's going to come out. So I
no,
really like the Miles. Hmm?
is this going to be with Miles Morales or something?
Yes,
Yes,
I,
Miles Morales.
I like the Miles Morales character a lot.
Hmm.
Like I said, Into the Spider Verse is probably one of my, as far as Spider-Man films go, it's right up there as one of my favorites. So I'm really excited about that one. Like I said, I like the Miles Morales character. I think he adds a new element to the whole Spider Verse that we don't normally see. And it's good
Yeah,
to see him brought back as a believable high school kid. Because as
hmm,
much as the live action films like to portray Peter as a high school student, let's, once you get back to watching it for the second time, you look at him, and you're like, well, Tom Holland looks like he's 30. You know, MJ in this one looks like she's 30. You know, and you go back and watch even the Tobey Maguire films when he was in high school, he looked like he was 35. Andrew Garfield looked like he's 30, and it's hard to get that that young adult look out of an adult actor. And the thing
yeah,
with the Spider Verse films, you know, it really captures what it's like for someone 17, 16, 17 years old to have this thrust upon them and kind of go with it. You know, I see it as more as what the original intent of the character was.
hmm,
And of course, it goes through, and you see, especially with Spider Verse, you see an older Spider Man develop. You know, what's like when he's older and when he's gone through different things in his life. But it's nice to see it through fresh eyes too.
yeah. Well, I tell you what's weird. I've noticed this, and I don't know if it's just because of aging or he just doesn't have his American accent down consistently or not. But if you go back and listen to Tom Holland, his voice is different in Civil War, and
Mhm.
it's yeah, he actually sounds like a teenager in Captain America: Civil War,
Mhm.
and he kind of does in Spider-Man: Homecoming. But then the other two films, and even in Infinity War, he sounds like a grown man. So that kind of goes with what you're saying.
Mhm.
But yeah, Tobey Maguire, he looked like a grown man, and um, oh, what is her name that played Mary Jane in the Tobey
Oh,
Maguire? Kirsten Dunst.
yeah,
Yeah, she looked like she was in her early 30s.
yeah.
Uh,
Even in
Emma,
high school, yeah.
mhm, Emma, oh, what is her name? Played Gwen Stacy. Um,
Stone. I don't
Emma
remember what
Stone.
name.
Yeah, Emma Stone. Yeah, she kind of looked like a 30-year-old too. So, but Garfield looked like he was well into his late 20s also.
I was, yeah.
Mhm. So I kind of feel bad for Garfield though, where they cut him off at two and gave the other two 3 movies.
There's been internet rumors circling around that they're going to give Garfield his third film, but if it comes to fruition or not, who knows? I mean, I like the Garfield movies. I mean, they weren't
I
fantastic, but they were entertaining. So
Yeah.
I like.
Well, for me, they were just too close together, and you know, where I never heard of Tom Holland either, but he sold it pretty well. But with Garfield, I never heard of him before. I was kind of like, why is this? I didn't like the skateboard look. I didn't like that at all. But I got it, to
Yeah.
separate the two. I got it, but I just wasn't feeling it. Not at all. Not at all. Let me see here. Give me just a moment here. Celebrity deaths. Of course, we all know about Bob Saget
One
passing
second.
away. Bob Saget. I don't want to say his best line he ever said. I don't want to say that on. Um, what he did for his to perk him up, to spice him up. It wasn't coffee, but you know what I mean. They said that I read I think it was yesterday that they said that his cause of death. They said he had fell and hit his head, and that he didn't go to the hospital, and that he continued on with his evening, and then he went to bed and he never woke up.
Hmm.
So I found that kind of odd.
How
Um,
bizarre.
yeah. So very, very odd. And unless someone was in the room with him, I don't know how you come to the conclusion that the head trauma wasn't
Hmm.
foul play. I don't know. So I watch SVU, but at the same time,
I was
I
gonna
don't
say,
have
how,
I don't
you
know a
said,
coroner. So
yeah, how bizarre that a lot of celebrity deaths are surrounded in mystery and drugs and just the seedier side of stardom, I guess. And to have someone that's dies of pretty much an accident or natural causes or something like that just
mhm.
feels wrong or odd or mysterious. It's like there has to be something else. I mean, if it happened to the guy down the road, we'd all say, "Oh, yeah, that happens." But it happens to Bob Saget, and it's like there's got to be something else. He knew too much. They took him out.
Yeah,
The Olsen twins had dirt on him, and they finally took it out on him.
yeah. They hired the syndicate to take him out, so they could move the spice the spice trade.
What the hell is spice anyway? I still don't figure it's dirt, dust.
I don't know if it was actual spice or it was some kind of drug. I
I mean,
don't
is it a
know.
drug or what? I mean, Han Solo, the movie Han Solo should have explained that because Han Solo became a spice runner. He
Yeah,
was always saying he was a spice runner, but we still don't know what spice is.
I mean maybe it's booze.
Is it
Maybe
Tabasco
maybe
sauce?
maybe maybe they were on some Al Capone stuff, and they were making illegal booze, and they were running it. That's probably how NASCAR is going to start on Tatooine, is the Spice Runners, and then next thing they're gonna have NASCAR on Tatooine. Let me see here.
Shaman
Uh,
says it is drugs. What kind of
yes, it
drugs, though,
is
Dave?
spice. That
Spice.
that's that's gonna be the new thing on the street. You got some spice for me. That,
God.
that, that's
I
gonna be
guarantee you someone out there has already started labeling their stuff as spice.
the. Oh goodness. Oh no, no.
They're probably
I
putting in little Fett bags.
Yeah. An-
Sydney.
yeah, another celebrity death here, Sydney. We were talking about this earlier. We don't know. I've heard different people pronounce it Portier or Portier, maybe one of those Stephen Colbert type of deals. But he passed away this year in 2022. Uh, um, the first black man to win a leading man Oscar. So he passed away this year. Let me see here. Louis Anderson. I always liked Louis Anderson when I was a kid. His voice always got me. It always was kind of made me laugh. I remember he had the cartoon Life with Louis.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, he was in Coming to America. His stand up's pretty raw. I actually need to go back and check out some of his stand up. It was pretty raw for Louis Anderson.
I
Um,
remember him vaguely. I remember watching him a lot when he first came out,
mhm.
and the cartoon, of course. But over the last several years, he kind of became irrelevant to me. I wasn't even sure he even really existed as far as comedy anymore. Because I don't think he's to me. I haven't seen anything he's been in or performed in for quite a while.
Well,
You know,
I think what happened with him is you had guys like him um, that in the late '80s, with him and being comedian, and there was what was the guy's name? Richard.
Belcher.
Uh, no, not Richard Belzer. It was um, he was in Hollywood Men in Tights. He was King Richard.
Oh God, real dry personality.
Yes, yes. I can't think of what his first name is
Yeah.
Richard. I can't think of what his, but there were guys like him and Louis Anderson and Richard Belzer for that matter as comedians coming up in the the 80s and particularly the late 80s. And I think what happened to those guys is that they got overshadowed by the new guys that were in SNL
Mhm.
in the early 90s, the Chris Farley and all those guys, and they just got like overshadowed by them, and they never really took off as far as movie careers went. I think because of that. But I always thought Louis Anderson was funny, and I always enjoyed his voice. And I think he was a funny, especially in Coming to America. He was a funny dude. So I was glad to see that he got to reprise his role in the Second Coming to America.
I haven't seen
So
that yet.
it's it's not bad, but it's not great. Um,
There are better ways to spend 2 hours. Or
yeah,
here's a
yeah.
question: was it better than the last Bruce Willis movie that you watched?
It was better than the last Bruce Willis movie that I watched. It was better than the last Liam Neeson movie that I watched. Somebody put a comment here. Uh,
Uh, no habla español.
that's from YouTube. So yeah, because we're streaming on YouTube too. So I believe that's Spanish, and yeah, I don't speak Spanish here. That might be some spam or something. Maybe if we click on it, it'll pull up girls, girls, girls. Um, no, the I forgot what I was saying there.
You talk about how much you like the last Bruce Willis film you watched.
Oh, yeah, it was yeah. I like the last Bruce Willis movie and the last Liam Neeson movie that I watched. Fantastic, so much that I'm going to get them on every format, digital, DVD, Blu-ray, and I'm going to see if maybe someone can take those and convert it into VHS and possibly beta tapes too.
It'd be
So
fantastic. Can you get someone to make you like a custom laser disc for it?
yeah, I can't forget about Laserdisc. That's right. Can't forget about this. The No, it's funny because when we were talking about Bruce Willis the other day with me, you and Elizabeth were talking about that, and he really I made a Bruce Willis fan man the other day when I said that, but because of straight to streaming, he really, in my opinion, has got to the same level of Nicolas Cage. Like I don't watch Netflix. I don't have Netflix, so I can only see what's on Hulu. But if you go on Hulu, there are Bruce Willis movies that you've never even heard of before,
Hmm.
and even the trailers look horrible, the thumbnails look horrible. It's just awful. So he's got to be just I don't know what he's getting paid for these movies, but it's just awful. And my thought is, are you doing it just to get a paycheck and be lazy about it? Because the movie that I told you I watched the other day, I'm not even making this up. He had a gun. He shot it twice, two times the entire movie. Two times he shot it twice, and he threw not one single punch in that movie. What
He's
Bruce?
what, 70?
What Liam Neeson those punches, and he's 70.
Yeah, but Liam Neeson has a select skill set that he leans on all the time.
Well, it's a you got to be clear here. It's a particular, or is it
Exactly.
particular or specific? It was one or the other.
Yeah.
A specific skill set,
Yes.
that he uses. That's right. But yeah, that's just I'm thinking, okay, are you just bored, or are you just like, you know what? I'm gonna go half-ass this script here and get a couple $1 million and just put it in the bank. I mean, that's got to be what it is. It's got to be.
There's no way they're paying him that much to make those movies. They are horrible.
Yeah, horrible. If you hate someone, if you want to tell someone how much you don't love them, sit them next to you and make them watch the movie I watched the other night with Bruce Willis. It was that bad.
I mean,
Nothing
at
says
least
I
Liam
hate.
Neeson. At least Liam Neeson's been his name's being floated around to star in the remakes of the was it the Naked Gun?
Yeah, Naked Gun. Yeah, Naked
Yeah, I
Gun.
mean,
Seth MacFarlane. Yeah.
he can't be Leslie Nielsen, but I guess he's going to be Leslie Nielsen.
He might
I like
shock
Brie
us.
Larson Nielsen.
Sometimes guys you wouldn't think they could be comedic actually pull it off. So maybe we'll get to see him in this one here. I wanted to ask you here. Let me pull it up here. All right, so since we've been gone, obviously Hawkeye's come
Mhm.
out. I want to ask you what you thought of it.
Absolutely loved Hawkeye. Absolutely loved it. Um, Probably one of my favorite Marvel TV shows they've put out. A little hokey, a lot hokey in places, um, but a fun show to watch. Really, I love the reprisal of shit, the guy, called Mr. Fisk.
Oh, you know
Yeah,
what's funny? I can never remember his name, but I can tell you that he was on Law and Order.
Kingpin.
I can tell you that he was
Kingpin.
in Full Metal Jacket.
Vincent, I never can pronounce the last name. Vincent
Carlo,
DiFernio.
something like
DiFernio. He is a fantastic actor in everything he's been in. From, like I said, from Law and Order to the Army. I'm brain dead right now. I'm sorry,
Full
but
Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. He's in an old sci-fi film, 13th Floor, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, he's been in all kinds of stuff. He's great. He's in Men in Black.
The, the
He's a great.
the breakup with Jennifer Aniston and oh god damn it, what's his name? Big tall
Ryan
Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn.
um, he's a great actor, and it's a great character. I'm glad they pulled him in from the Daredevil series into the MCU. That
Mhm.
that was a fantastic thing in it. Touch back on Spider-Man, seeing Daredevil, not in Daredevil's costume, but seeing him in the show was fantastic. It shows that they're going to hopefully start pulling some of those Netflix shows into the MCU, because those Netflix shows were cast impeccably and were fantastic. Most of
Yeah.
them were.
I
But
forgot about Daredevil being in Spider-Man. I forgot about that. That was pretty awesome in the beginning when they showed up and you're like, "Oh, Matt Murdock."
yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was great too. I liked it a lot. It wasn't too over the top, and then it
Mhm.
it also, had like a nice, like, soft feel to it. It wasn't too mushy. It wasn't too over the top,
Mhm.
and, somebody made a comment there.
Oh, Tim Still loves Bruce Willis.
Loves Hey, nothing wrong with Bruce. We're just saying he's just grabbing paychecks now instead of taking his time
Is
and,
he moonlighting?
yeah. Sybil Shepherd.
That was
I used to
bad.
love me some Sybil Shepherd. But no, I thought that, I thought Hawkeye was great. The only thing I didn't like about Hawkeye was the last episode when he's fighting, Natasha's sister, and you got 200 henchmen around and her, and this big long fight scene, and not a police officer in sight.
Well, there's a suspension of reality in a lot of these shows. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was kinda odd. Thought that was kinda odd. I did like the way that they made, um, the Black Widow there, uh, be continue to be the character that she was in Black Widow.
Mhm.
For example, the way that she approached, the girl in her apartment, the way that she kinda just, instead of just kicking her ass completely, just kept pushing her
Mhm.
off, But, the ending of it could have been better. But, he says, yeah, he does do that, but he has earned that right. Yeah, he has earned that right. Yeah, he has earned that right. But, the ending could be better, but I thought overall, I thought it was fantastic, and I
Mhm.
liked it a lot. I love Jeremy Renner in it, and I thought it was great. I like the end of it when, what's the watch, the deal with the watch? Turns out it was an Agent of Shield watch for his wife, and
Yeah, she was actual. She was an original, not Black Widow, but
yeah,
is it Black Widow?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
brain dead most time. Yeah. So rank you, if you would rank your Disney Marvel films or shows from worst to best.
Well, the shows worst to best. Let's see. There's what, Hawkeye. There's um
Falcon
uh,
Winter Soldier.
yeah. There's Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's WandaVision, Loki. Was
Ant-Man.
there another one?
I think that's it.
Worst to first. Um, I would have to put WandaVision worst, just because of the slow start. I almost gave up on it just because of the first couple episodes. Um, Loki would come in next, and I would have to put. I like the feel of Hawkeye. I just think that the Falcon and Winter Soldier was a better story because it felt like a movie.
Hmm.
I would have to put Falcon and Winter Soldier first, Hawkeye second, Loki third, and then WandaVision fourth, just because the first couple episodes just kept going on and on and on, and I almost
Hmm.
gave up on it. What
Yeah.
about you?
Um, the worst one when I enjoyed the least was Loki.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, I mean, for me. It started out strong, but as it went on, it just seemed to be just dragging too much. And it was a very, for me, it was very. When I'm watching these shows, I'm always doing something else. I'm always closing an auction out or listening to an auction. I'm doing a lot of things at the same time. So for me, it was a really hard plot to follow. There's a lot of convulsion in it.
Yeah.
It seemed like every episode just ended in a fist fight for no reason to me. There's a better way to solve this, but we're just going to punch each other out on it.
Yeah, you could kind of tell that they really it felt like they ran out of things to put in it, so we'll just add one or two things this episode and keep stretching it out like
Yeah.
bandwidth. Yeah.
Then probably WandaVision. I really like. I'm one of the odd people. I really liked that it was so oddball and quirky. That kind of sucked me right into it. So I mean, I enjoyed that aspect of it. Um, I liked it a lot, but it wasn't quite. I didn't like it quite as much as uh, Falcon in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite. So have to be Loki, WandaVision, Hawkeye, and Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're all pretty tight. I mean I don't think we got. I don't think any of us didn't get our money's worth out of Disney Plus, by watching. I think they're all tight shows, but that's my rankings on them.
The Falcon and Winter Soldier, I thought the last episode they got a little sloppy. The final episode, on the end of it, they got a little sloppy. I felt the build up to it was phenomenal, and then the last episode, I was kind of like, okay, you could have done that a little better. I mean, but I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic, and it's one that I can actually go back and I can go back and rewatch Hawkeye. I can go back and rewatch Falcon and Winter Soldier. Can't do that with Loki. WandaVision, if I skip the first couple episodes, I'm good. Uh, but other than that, I do like the lady that plays Hagatha. I can't think of what her name is. To
She's
say
getting
my
her own show.
yeah, but I think she's awesome. I love her. She's funny in everything that she does, and she's a great thing too. I want to tell you this 'cause I know you got to start your auction here, but I want to tell you, I was tripping out because I posted. I know that you saw it on Facebook, but I was tripping out because when I was watching, Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, I kept seeing the lady, that Mandalorian would go and get his ships repaired to. I kept thinking, she looks familiar, and she reminds me so
Oh,
much of Tracy Ullman. And I kept thinking, who? And then I was on Instagram and I saw it, and I thought, holy cow, that's Amy Sedaris. Most people know her from Strangers with Candy. I believe like in the late '90s, maybe early 2000s, with Stephen Colbert and a couple other people. But yeah, Amy Sedaris. I was like, wow, she's in The Mandalorian. I didn't even catch that. So I feel bad because I let that slip. I have no idea why I didn't notice that. Let me get to
sometimes.
let me get to these. Let me just run this celebrity test here, and then you can. I know you got your auction here, so we'll plug that for you here. Of course, uh, um, Calvin Simon here was the founding member of the Parliament Funkadelic group with him and George Clinton. I always have to be careful not to say Bill Clinton. Meatloaf here, honestly,
Oh,
as a young fella, I had no clue who Meatloaf was until he told me that he could do that for love.
what wouldn't he do for love?
Yeah, you know
What
that
was
song originally. You know that song originally was pitched to Michael Jackson, and he turned it down.
really
Yeah,
funny how things kind of turn out for the best, though, isn't it?
yeah, it does. It does. And then of course the biggest celebrity loss here this year, of course, is Miss Betty White.
Was
So
she this year? Or was she technically last year?
oh, well, technically per calendar year was 2021. Um,
Betty White's death
well,
actually.
actually, no, it was 2022 because I think because her birthday was like January. Her birthday was in January, so
Uh,
she fell either right before the first, like late December, or like the first week of January.
I remember. I think I heard the news on New Year's Eve that she had died.
Yeah,
'Cause
so it was.
it really messed with me because I told Jesse, it's like this makes me adds a little brick to my mental my thought process that we are living in a simulation. Because how else? This just sounds like a perfect thing. We're going to wind up 2021 with a celebrity death. Who could it be? Betty
Uh,
White. It just seems that's a whole other show. Trust me. I'm 70-30 against, but still is that 30% possibility that we are in a simulation all the time. And little things like Betty White's death seem to add little pieces of that wall for me a little bit. Different episode though, really.
well, it definitely wasn't the way to ring in the new year. I tell you that. So
No.
definitely wasn't that. So I think that's all the celebrity deaths I got here. You have your auction tonight. Is that right?
We have our Thrifty Thursday auction on the Thrifty Thursday Facebook page. It's general merchandise throughout the whole store. It's just a lot of the regular good stuff you'll find around here at low starting prices. Thrifty
Okay.
Thursday
And that starts when?
starts at 8 o'clock in 4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right. So we're going to let Tim get out of here so he can get to his auction here, and make sure you go over to his Facebook page there and check him out. If you haven't already, give him some love. Follow his Third Floor Comics page as well. So, well, thank you, Tim. We'll try to get this back here again in 2 weeks, and thank you guys for checking us out. Listen to us as always, and I don't know what else to say, but we'll see you in 2 weeks, I guess. Here.
We'll see you in a few weeks, guys. Later.
All right.